Because I personally am very curious about your NHI experience, and I think that could help people who have those experiences process it. But also there may be something else you want to say. But I just want to know what's in your heart.
My NHI experience, the first one was I was a child,
Mm. How old?
probably five,
Mm.
4 or 5. And I sent you that sort of strange thing last night, but there was a part of it which described this sensation of that the child experienced about what if, mommy and daddy didn't exist? What if I don't exist? It was a complete lack of ego. That was my first experience with it. I was taken up. I thought I was floating,
Hmm.
and it was transcendental to say the least. But my brain was going through, what if language doesn't exist? What if mommy and daddy don't exist? What if all of these things don't exist? What am I? And
Hmm.
there was this sensation of initial dread. And
Hmm.
then there was this feeling of complete envelopment and complete security in
Mm.
this emptiness that my mind had created by basically saying these things don't exist, or what if they don't exist? And then the next occasion was on my eve before I departed for Czechoslovakia in August of 1992, and it was not far from here in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. I had taken an exchange student out on a date, a Rotary exchange student, and I was coming back, and I saw this orb. That's exactly what it was. This thing out in the cornfield, but it wasn't really a cornfield because the corn wasn't growing, but it was a field. That was the strange thing. And I went out in, so we call it a cornfield around here, but it was obviously agricultural, but there was no corn in it. And I walked out, may have been soybeans, I don't recall. And I walked out there and I got right underneath it.
Oh.
And there was this deafening silence,
Mm.
just like I experienced in Veracruz and later
Hmm.
in the south of France. There was this deafening silence. And then there was this almost resonant sound. It was like a, have you ever listened to the Schumann resonance? The
Hmm.
idea, okay, it was something similar to that.
Hmm.
And
That's
this
like
thing,
7 hertz. It's around 7 hertz.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so what I was doing was I was standing there, and I couldn't determine if it was 10 feet above my head or 1,000 feet above my head. It would just seemingly move. It was spatially out of, and there was this glow. It
Was it
changed.
solid or was it light?
No, it was solid,
Like a
but
solid.
this thing was solid, but it changed the colors. It undulated, reds to sort of a blues. Opalescent is what if
Mm.
talk about gemstones. I mean,
Mm.
it was very opalescent, but this is also interesting.
Mm.
The light source did not illuminate anything around me.
Hmm.
And wow,
It's almost like you were in a dimension with it, but that dimension was
yes,
not shared by the area around you. Hmm.
exactly. And so many, many years later, I would experience something with what do they call it? A life after life experience.
Hmm.
I was I have, as you know, I have this mark of Cain, as they say here, and what a, been through a lot. What did they say that Cain, they no human could kill Cain? Isn't that what it was? But I don't. But I've been through a lot, and I've survived a lot, and by the grace of go I. But in that experience, I had the same soundlessness and that same feeling, and I felt that I was dissipating. I felt when I was up there that I was just, I was like nebulous, and I was just sort of dissipating in the
Hmm.
air.
Hmm.
And I
I
and
think
I
a lot
was
of near death experiences share that same uh or the people report that a similar experience of kind of, moving through a wall,
Ego dissolution in the
Yes,
bingo.
extreme. Yeah.
right.
But isn't that the goal of initiation?
It's one of the goals, yeah, but then to bring your ego back so you can function in the world is the sort of the bodhisattva path, right? So you
Yes.
have the discovery, but you're not, but you have to come back so you can function.
So I would, going back to what you were saying, Julia, about the idea that what you experienced was an initiation at the wall in Jerusalem, and
Yeah,
you received a commission at that point to
yeah,
bring this into the world.
yeah.
And therein lies what I would like to describe at some time with you as the grand intent of the Templar order that was suspended in 1307, but continues, those traditions continue to this day.
Wow.
And that's something I think we're almost out of time, but I would really, really be delighted to discover more about this stuff with
Well, I
both of you.
spent a couple of summers down in Carcassonne.
Oh, there's where the
Uh,
last experience
yes,
was, but this
well,
time they had entities.
when you said the south of France, I kind of knew where you were going. It won't surprise, I don't think, our listeners that to my knowledge, I have never had an experience like that. I'm always tethered. It doesn't mean that I don't have deep um, spiritual, emotional, compassion, empathy, awareness, moments of that because I've had that multiple times. Most recently, this Sunday at the picking circle. Julia knows the reference, but I have never had that kind of experience. And I've been, been to that church. I've been to Rennes le Chateau, whatever that place is called.